Hi, welcome to Surviving Motherhood. Hey, a couple of weeks ago I told you about what I was doing in Psalm 139, how I'm memorizing one verse approximately every 2 weeks. Well, you may recall I had a little trouble with verses 9 and 10 because, verse 9 was the beginning of the thought and 10 was the end of it, and I didn't like spending 2 weeks just with the beginning of a thought. But that's where I am again with verse 11. Psalm 139 verse 11 says, "If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me." And that's it. That's what I'm sitting with for a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, that isn't an unfamiliar place for me to be. How about you? Do you find yourself like me a lot of times feeling that the darkness is going to hide you? Sometimes I feel like all the stuff going on in my life is going to hide me from God. That somehow if there's too much trouble, too much stress, too much stuff, God might not be able to see me. Well, that's where I was just a couple of days ago. Kind of in the middle of a whole bunch of stress. And it really, in hindsight, it wasn't that big of a deal. But in the moment, everything's a big deal, isn't it? So I'm there, and I'm stressed out by all this stuff. And, I was crying, just concerned. But I sat down in my room, and I thought about that verse. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light will become night around me. And I prayed, and I said, okay, God, I know that isn't true. But that's what I feel right now. And I think that's so important. It's important for us to know what is true, but it's also important for us to acknowledge our real feelings to God. So that's what I did. And then you know what He did? This was just the coolest thing. I finally felt like I had calmed myself down a bit, that God had calmed me down. And I went back out to the kitchen and I picked up the phone because I needed to call somebody. And I looked at the phone and it said 11:11. Okay, for those of you who know the story about 11:11, you understand why that's significant. For those of you who don't, I'm going to put 11:11 in the labels below this post. You really just have to click on it and read about 11:11. Okay, because the thing is, it wasn't really 11:11. I looked at the clock in the kitchen. It was 12:18. But somehow our phone time is not the same as our microwave time, and God had on the phone right there 11:11. And in those 4 little numbers, after I had just been in my room acknowledging my feelings to God, telling Him I know what's true, but this is how I feel, it was like He was saying to me, Karen, look at me. I've got it under control. You're going to be okay. I don't know what you're going through today, but I wonder if God would want to say the same thing to you. Will you look at Him? Will you acknowledge your feelings, but will you remember what's true? And will you let Him hold you? He will, because He's faithful like that. Have a wonderful, Jesus-full day.